Hello, and welcome to another video. Welcome to my channel. Here we talk about all things finance, all the good, the bad, the ugly, hopefully the wonderful. And today we are going to be addressing rental property, whether it is a cash flow made in heaven or just a major headache, right? So if you look at anything on social media, you will hear everybody talking about you should become a rental income property expert. You've got experts teaching you how to do this. They've got classes, they've got all this stuff going on. And it's so alluring, right? Because we think, oh, I could own a property and rent it out and make tons of money. Look at all these other people who do it. But there are a lot of things to be considering when it comes to rental properties. And some people, I'm just going to frankly say it, it's not the right thing for them. So let's get into talking about rental properties, heaven or headache. Now, who am I? I am a financial advisor. I have been for over 13 years. I'm Lisa, by the way, and I help people get to their financial independence as quickly as possible. So let's dive right into talking about the pros and cons about rental properties. Now, one of the things that is alluring about it is passive income. This thing of passive income is everywhere right now. You hear about it all over YouTube, all over how to make passive income. Passive income is alluring for lots of different reasons. Obviously, you don't have to work very hard to make some money. Everybody likes that idea, right? I am not saying that people should not want passive income. It's a great thing. The thing that happens with rental income, though, is it truly passive? Can everybody make it work so that it's passive? And that's the thing that I think a lot of people don't realize is there are a lot of elements when it comes to passive income that aren't truly passive. It might not be a 40-hour work week, but there are some things that you still have to kind of keep in mind as you're doing this. So it's an alluring thing to have passive income, but we're going to kind of break down in the next 10 minutes or so why this might not be truly passive income and what you need to know before you get involved with this, right? So there's a cash flow conundrum, I call it. And what that means is that people think, I'm going to get this property and it's just going to start pouring money all of a sudden, right? Just going to have oodles of money coming in, and I'll buy another one with that income that's coming in, and I'll have 2 income properties bringing me in all this cash. That is the dream. And I can't say that that doesn't happen for people. It can happen, right? But from what I can tell, for most people that I work with, I've talked to that have rental properties, that's not really the way it works, okay? So when you are pricing what to sell, or not to sell, what to rent your property at, you have to take into a lot of considerations things like, what is my mortgage? What are the HOA fees? What are the property taxes? What are the utilities? Because oftentimes, you pay for some of the utilities. Other things like that kind of happen. And so when you are taking a look at your rental income coming in, you have to really keep that stuff in mind. Or what are your expenses? What is the payoff and what are the expenses? And do they make it so that you actually get some income coming in? And oftentimes, depending on where you get your property, how much you pay for it, the interest rate you're paying, sometimes you're not making income for quite a while. I have some clients who are just breaking even, which they're happy with right now because they know eventually mortgage is going to be paid off and they'll end up getting some cash. But that's just something you have to keep in mind, is that sometimes that cash flow doesn't happen right away. Don't quit your 9-to-5 thinking that it's just going to come pouring in, because sometimes that doesn't happen. It can, but a lot of times it doesn't, from what I've seen. Now, another thing that people don't really consider is being a landlord. It's difficult being a landlord. There are a lot of things you have to keep in mind when it comes to having a property. You have to think about who you're going to have rent it. Are they allowed to have pets? What conditions are there going to be? Other things like that. And then you have to make sure that they're paying their rent. If they're not paying their rent, can you get them out? Do you have to hire lawyers? There's a lot of things that can happen. You have to do upkeep. So if you're close by, maybe you come and do the upkeep, but maybe not. Maybe you've got to have some People come in, maybe you bought it in Oklahoma and you live in, Utah, and that's not possible to go do the work for yourself. So do you know people in Oklahoma that can do the work and that you trust them to go into your property with your renters there? It's a whole thing. And so you might have seen a video that I did that my grandfather did rental properties. And I'll link that video below. It was what I learned from about my grandpa by reading this book. And he was a big rental income person. But there is a system to it. And the system has to be in place before you take on both the income needs, but also just being a landlord. How are you going to handle different things as they come up? And sometimes people don't want to be landlords. I'm going to be frank, I don't want to be a landlord. Being a rental income owner is not my thing. It's not my jam. I don't really want to do it. It sounds like too much work to me. And for a lot of people, that's what's happening. A lot of the younger generation is coming up and going, this is not for me. I do not want to be a landlord to somebody. I do not want to deal with legal headaches and contracts and all this stuff. And that is totally fine. You can find other ways to bring in passive income if you want to. The other thing is, when you're choosing your rental income, make sure you are choosing locations that aren't just cheap. We hear you can find cheap properties in all these different areas. Do people want to rent there? If it's cheap, can they just buy their own house? Maybe they don't need to rent from you. So location, location, location is really, really important, because if you aren't aware of what that rental market is like, then you could be sitting there with now a second mortgage, if you already have a primary mortgage, of a house that's not being rented. And so you do need to consider that kind of stuff when you are buying a rental property, I should say, for rental income. The other thing is property management. Again, we just talked about, what if I bought a property in Oklahoma and I live in Utah? Then you cannot be there to make sure everything gets taken care of. And some people don't want to. Passive income usually means that people have another job that they do. Maybe they're retired and they don't want to do that. So people will hire property management companies. Those companies can be expensive. You need to take a look at the different options that you have in the area of the location that you're looking to buy a property. There are just lots of things that you need to go in hand. You also need to make sure that your agreement with them is a solid one. I've had, unfortunately, some clients that have had a very bad agreement and their property manager wasn't doing anything, and they were stuck having to pay this bill for over 2 years, I think, when, they just didn't look at the contract well enough. There's a lot of legal stuff that goes into buying a rental income or rental property. I keep saying that. Buying a rental property. And so you just want to make sure that you have all your I's dotted and your T's crossed, kind of thing. And then the big one, I think, is an exit strategy. People think about how they're going to get into it, how they're going to fund it, all this stuff. But let's say you've done really well, you've got 5 rental properties, and they're bringing in some cash. And let's say that you do have a balanced portfolio, which I would say most people don't, but let's say you do have some savings, some investments, some other things, so you have liquidity elsewhere. But you've got 5 properties, maybe you're 75, and you say, I don't know, I don't necessarily want this property in Oklahoma anymore. I'd rather have the other 3 that do better, other 4, I should say, that do better. How do we get out of that? The way that properties are sold when they are rental income or rental property is that they are sold as basically, capital gains. And you may have to make sure that you've held it for a certain time. Are you, as your tax person, doing different tax things so that you're writing off some of those expenses so you don't get those write-offs when you sell it? There are a lot of things that go into this. And so all your gains that you've gotten from this could be really a big tax bill at the end of the day. Plus you've paid income on all the rental income that you've gotten in. So you really need to look at how you're going to offload properties. People say, well, my kids will take it. Do your kids really want it? That's another thing that I hear all the time. My kids will take the property. My kids will take our primary property. Sometimes the kids don't want your property. So have those conversations with them before you do that, because you might be leaving a legacy you don't necessarily want to leave with your kids, which is a bad taste in their mouth that they're having to deal with these rental properties, and now their taxes are going up because of this. So before you enter, you need to know how to exit something. My husband has a really good saying. He does engineering and different things, and he always says that people think about how to put something together, but they never think about how to take it apart, how to get to something if there's an issue. How do we take it apart? How can we fix it easier? They don't think about the exit strategy, and they only think about the entrance. And I think that that is really key when it comes to investing in general. But really on property and property investing and rental properties, you need to think about how you're going to enter, but you also need to think about how you're going to exit, and what is that going to look like for you on a tax purpose and, you know, legal and other things like that. So in conclusion, rental properties can be very lucrative for sure. Nobody is saying that you shouldn't go buy one or that you shouldn't listen to any of these people. They might know what they're talking about. I don't know. I don't, as I said, I don't want to have a rental property, so I don't do this. However, there are a lot of things that people don't discuss. They make it sound like passive income, easy, don't worry about it. And there's a lot of things to worry about. So when you are investing in a rental property, you are making an investment, not just of money, but of time and effort. And it's not as passive as people think it is. So I just wanted to do this video to kind of highlight some of the headaches that are out there. Am I telling you not to do a rental property? Of course not. I don't give personal advice on this because I don't know your situation. A rental property might be perfect for you, and it might not be the right thing for you. So when you are getting lured in by these passive income discussions, and for 50 bucks, I'll show you how to do rental properties, and you'll just be a multi-millionaire with so much cash coming in, you have no idea what to do with it. Before you get lured into that, you really want to kind of make sure you understand all the risks involved. So I'm not here to be a Debbie Downer. I am just here to make sure that you understand what you're getting yourself into, and that you can enjoy this process rather than feel like, oh my gosh, what have I done? That's not what we want at all. So in conclusion, rental properties can be a good thing, rental properties can be a bad thing. Do your homework. That is the big emphasis then. Do your homework. And for our next video, you know, we're really kind of going to move into that millionaire mindset. What do people who are building millionaire portfolios, millionaire net worth, I would say not net worth, maybe liquid net worth, what are they doing different? What are things that maybe we should keep in the back of their mind as we are building towards that? So that's going to be our next video. I'm very excited about that. So I just want to take a second to thank you for getting through this video. I know sometimes finance is not the most trendy thing. You know, I watch stuff on YouTube like beauty and all that stuff, and nobody really wants to watch about financial stuff, but this is so important. And if you can get your finances right, man, you can have an amazing life. You can just have a worry-free, amazing life. And it's just about getting those details right, thinking things through, and building out a balanced portfolio, not just investing in the markets, but balanced overall. So thank you so much for taking the time and watching this video. Thank you for being here, and we will see you on the next video.